Hey guys, so I thought I would make a video about something that comes up for me every once in a while. It's about the introverted Aries. So I think when we think of Aries, a lot of the time, what is subscribed to Aries is that Aries is a very extroverted, fiery, obviously it's a fire sign, a very fiery, passionate, extroverted, spontaneous sign. And while that can be definitely true in a lot of cases, um, there are people that I have met, for example, who are Aries or who have a lot of Aries placements, like so they have Sun in Aries or they have other Aries placements, um, who are significantly more introverted than what is often described. And I myself am an Aries. I have prominent Aries placements, but I consider myself more introverted. So I've had a few thoughts about this, about why that might be, and I want to discuss it. So, uh, I think with Aries, really part of what Aries symbolizes is the self, right? The first house. Um, so I think a lot of the Aries people that are strongly introverted or just more introverted in general, what they're really living out is the expression of Aries that is focused on the self, or just focused on their own projects or focused on their own thoughts. Even like for example, I have Mercury in Aries as well, and so I feel like I'm often preoccupied with my thoughts in like an introverted way, for better or worse. So sometimes that can be a good thing in that I can express thoughts. And sorry, the shadow is annoying me. I'm sorry about that. That I can express my thoughts in a way that is maybe like more independent. Like I'm independent in my thinking in a way, if that makes sense. But it can also be negative in the sense that I get lost in my own head or in my own thoughts. So I think whatever Aries placements you have, if you have prominent Aries placements, that is really showing that you are living out in your personality some kind of focus or preoccupation or uh, just, yeah, focus on the self. So I think Aries people can be very independent because of this focus on kind of I'm going to do my own thing. Aries is the first sign. It is independent in the sense that it kind of wants to do its own thing, and it almost like stands apart. And so that can be expressed uh, in an introverted way. So not all Aries people are independent, or sorry, living out the Aries thing in the sense that they're sort of just out there and energetic and extroverted and just hugely fiery. That can be the case, but I think the Aries people that are more on the introverted side or who are very strongly introverted, I've known several Aries people who are very strongly introverted. Um, I think they're just living out the Aries. Let me think about how to express this. They're living out the Aries expression that is like I'm gonna do my own thing and I'm gonna like make my own way, or that can be a very Aries theme. And so that can not and that not only can that express itself in a way that the person is very sort of go-getter, like I'm the strong person, I'm going to go out there and get what I want. That's one expression of Aries, but it can also be a more introverted expression where your kind of focus is on kind of your own project, your own thoughts, maybe your own emotions, your own feelings. It's like an introverted expression of Aries, and it's kind of like, Aries people can very much kind of stand apart. In a way, it's almost like, if you think about it, in a way, it's close to the way Aquarius might be seen. So Aquarius can also be sort of individualistic, but also Aquarius has to do with the collective. So there's like an interesting mix of things going on there. And Aries does actually sextile Aquarius. So Aries is in a sextile relationship with Aquarius. So maybe getting ahead of myself, but I'm just kind of thinking about the connection there. So basically, my point is that I think Aries people with strong Aries placements, they're living out an expression of Aries. Sometimes, if they're introverted, they're living out an expression of Aries where the focus is on kind of what do I see and what do I want and what am I doing. It's not necessarily a hugely self-centered expression, although it can be. Like for example, even with my Mercury in Aries, like I can be so wrapped up in my own thoughts, that it can get me into trouble at times, but it can also be an expression where my thoughts are not really influenced by, or what I like to think sometimes is that my thoughts are not always influenced by what other people are saying or doing, right? So I think Aries can be a very individualistic, independent sign in that way, but just it can be expressed in an introverted way as well. It's not just, not all Aries people are just, super energetic and outgoing. I do have an Aries friend who has most of his personal planets in Aries, and he is just super Aries. Like he is textbook Aries. So like he has Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Venus in Aries, and compared to me, like he is much more of the textbook Aries, whereas I'd be more on the introverted Aries side. And I've known other people. I have another friend who's an Aries who's also introverted and much more sort of reserved and low key. And I've known other Aries people like that as well. So I think it's just that those kinds of Aries people are just expressing an introverted expression of Aries, where it's their just their focus is more like yeah, I'm independent, I'm doing my own thing, I'm kind of standing apart from others in some way. And that can definitely, if you think about it, it can definitely take on an introverted expression. So some Aries people are very much loners because it's kind of like, I was going to say it's all about me, 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 but that sounds just terribly self-centered. So I don't really mean that, but just their focus is on like, what am I doing next? Or what am I, uh, what do I want to do next? Or what am I looking at? What is my experience? So Aries on the soul level is is a symbolism of um, the self and what makes me me. So that can obviously take on an expression where it's more self-contained and introverted. So not all Aries people are just going out there expressing the self in a grandiose way all the time. Just like there are introverted Leos as well, introverted Sagittarians. All the fire signs can be introverted. And with Aries, it can also be an emotional independence. So I know an Aries moon person who has also other Aries placements as well, and he's also more introverted, and he's um, very emotionally independent, and that's what he says as well. So it's like um, just Aries is just on a some symbolic or soul level is this independent person who's kind of stands alone and does his own thing, so to speak, if that makes any sense. So I think with Moon in Aries, for example, it can be this kind of emotional independence that you don't really rely that much on other people's input almost, because the Moon obviously is our emotional self. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I just wanted to bring this point across that, Aries people can be introverted and where that comes from, potentially, where I think that it comes from in a lot of the Aries people that I have seen who have been introverted, and myself as well. So it's just like this focus on your, like, maybe your mind, your creativity, like it's kind of like just standing apart in some way. And that can be positive or negative experience for the person and for other people who are around the person. Aries people can be quite self-centered as well at times. Like that can be an expression of the Aries symbology, but it doesn't mean that you're like that all the time. I know I have had moments in my life where I have been very focused on like my own self, to the point where I feel that I'm being self-centered. But that is not where I kind of am all the time. So we can kind of take on different expressions at different times. So yeah, so this video is already longer than I expected it to be, But I hope to continue making more videos in the future if I have any specific thoughts about something. So if you want to see more from me, do subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Thank you.